Unit 3, Lesson 13, homework. Let's get right into it. The container has 1/2 gallon of water. 6 friends split the water equally. How many gallons of water does each friend get? Quick, flip your paper over right now. Did you flip it? Okay. Tell me the gist of what you just read. I'll wait. If you can't tell me the gist, then uh, then you really didn't even do anything when you're reading. We need to start reading for comprehension. Don't just be reading to read. You need to be able to tell me, okay, we're talking about a container. It's like a 1/2 gallon. 6 friends are splitting equally, and we're trying to figure out how much each friend gets. So that's what you need to be thinking about when you're reading it that first time. Read it to get the gist, guys. All right, now, second thing. We need to read it to identify the key information necessary for solving this problem. All right, so what's key? A 1/2 gallon of water is key. That's super key. 6 friends. That's very important. We need to write that down. We're trying to figure out what is some key terminology that will help me figure out what math operation we might be leaning towards. And when you say, oh, we're splitting the water equally, y'all need to be thinking, boom, division. For real, y'all, when we're starting to see things, because these are the type of terminology that they're going to be using on the test, like splitting equally, separating equally. These are the type of terms that need to be talked about when we're talking about trying to figure out what math operation to use. In this case, obviously, it's going to be division. All right, so we identified our key information. Now, let's go ahead and represent this problem with a diagram. So now you need to ask yourself, okay, I know it's division because it's talking about splitting equally. What are we dividing? Because division is not like multiplication. You can't just take the two variables and just multiply them and they can be flipped and you'll still get the right answer. No. Division is a one-way road. You need to know where you're starting and where you're going. Where are you starting? What is being divided? What is being shared equally? Is it the water or the friends? You know what I'm about to say. You can't split no friends. You can't split no people, y'all. So if you're trying to divide, if you're trying to figure out what's being divided, and there's people versus something, as in this case, water, it's the water. Divide the water. All right, so we got a 1/2 gallon of water, and we're trying to separate it between 6 friends. How do we represent this? We got our 1/2 divided by 6. So let's represent that 1/2 gallon of water. Y'all know me, I love me some rectangles. Just keep it simple for me. It's simple for me. Simple for me. All right, so let's take that 1/2 and represent that 1/2 first. Y'all should know by now, we're just going to break it down the middle. And let's go ahead and lightly shade. Just a pretty little lightly shade, just to let us know what we're dealing with. Just to show us. Well, just 1/2. This is all we worried about right now, okay? So now, we would like to divide this among 6 people. How do we go about doing that? Man, how are we going to do that? Well, we need to somehow show that separation of 6 among here. So let's go ahead and do it. I got my 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and separate into 6 going across, because that'll be, I think it'll be pretty cool for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we took our 1/2. We took our 1/2 because this is our 1/2, right? And now we're trying to figure out what happens when we divide this 1/2 into 6 parts. Well, we divided it into 6, so now we're only worried about this piece right here, because we took this part and we split it into 6 pieces. So the only piece we care about is our answer, which we got highlighted in orange here. So what does our answer symbolize? Let's talk about it. All right. Our answers are orange. 1 out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Y'all should be letting me know. How much does each friend get? Each friend is getting 1/12. Okay. And all right, that 1/12. I'm gonna let y'all write that. All right. Let me erase this real quick. I need to get an eraser. If one of y'all want to donate me an eraser, it would be great. I just need to take one from class, but we'll be all right. All right, so let's get to our second problem. All right, now, we're still talking about water, but let's see how it's different. We're going to read this first time for our gist. The container has 1 gallon of water. Each bottle holds 1/8 of a gallon. How many bottles of water does the container hold? Flip your paper over. Flip your paper over right now. What'd you just read? Huh? What'd you read? All right, y'all should be saying, well, there's a gallon of water. It's going to be separated into eighths of a gallon, and we're trying to figure out how many bottles that'll make for us. So now let's read it again and get the key information. Get the real key information that will help us figure out what we need to do. Obviously, the container has 1 gallon of water. 1 gallon of water is important. Each bottle holds 1/8 of a gallon. So that's another thing. Visualize yourself in this problem. Imagine yourself with a gallon of water. I ain't got one on me, but I got one in the house. But imagine yourself with a gallon of water, and imagine yourself with a bunch of little bottles that hold 1/8 every time. So you're trying to figure out how many of those little bottles, when you're pouring a gallon in, how many of those can you fill? Okay, so we got our key information. Now, when you're thinking about that and you're pouring from a gallon and you're pouring an eighth into every one, what does that make you think of? You're kind of separating them. You're kind of sharing equally. You should be thinking, I think we might need to divide here. So let's think about that. How do we go about separating that 1 gallon into eighths? And it'll tell us how many bottles we can get. Let's go ahead and represent it with a diagram. I'm going to keep it rectangle shorty because you know I love some rectangles, okay? So here's our hole. It's just a hole, all right? Just one, all right? So how do we go about figuring out each bottle holds 1/8 of a gallon? So how do we represent those 8? Let's go ahead and separate it into 8 pieces. That seems to work most times. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, whoops. I think it's 8. Don't mind me. I shouldn't have made it. They're not as even as they should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want to say that gave us our answer because we took our whole gallon and then we said we wanted to separate that into eighths. So this is going to be our answer. How many bottles did it take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bottles. Okay. I want you to do like how we did on lesson 12. I want you to analyze your answers because we did. Why is it that when we do 1 divided by 1/8, we get 8. And then earlier when we did 1/2 divided by 6, we got 1/12. Ask yourself, why is it that when we're dividing a fraction by a whole number, we're getting a fraction? And then when we divide a whole number by a fraction, it's giving us a whole number. So I want you guys to keep asking yourself that and try and figure that out. Why is that going on? Think about that because I'm going to ask you in class. I'm going to ask you in class. I'm asking you in class.